Here we go. It is hottest day yet for 2025, and we're gonna go towards the sun. My King the Pope always commencing. Got the backpack, and grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and thank you for the sweet donation from yesterday. Got a drink, a little bit of a lime, 0 calories lime drink, whatever I have it for after when I come back. Not for today, before later tonight when I go and in the sun I go. Gotta move that rock and roll. Get a little bit of sun, and I see some people are already wearing a little bit of short sleeves. It's kind of hot, hotter than I thought that it was gonna be. And of course, it's something which is still last day of winter officially. Officially is the last day of winter. Tomorrow, of course, starts the spring, and I gotta go towards the sun a little bit. Encourage you all to work out, train, exercise on the toes, do some stretches, stretch before commencing. Already feel good. I'm a bit on the moody side, but feel good now when I'm out, you know. I managed to clean, and tomorrow we're gonna do a big spring cleaning. So we go towards the sun, and I gotta get some of that garbage put here and there. So what are we gonna do? How we're gonna move it? I guess I'm just gonna go straight towards the SUN, my King the Pope, on this hot day. Just gonna get a little bit of garbage here, the public garbage, because I didn't put it in my backpack, in my black bag in the garbage. So just gonna do a little bit here. Gonna drop it, and then we're gonna rock and roll with it on the side. There we go. It's gonna come out. Very sunny day, quite an amazingly sunny day. So really sunny. So that's what it is with that. Just gonna drop a little bit of garbage there, and we're gonna go rock and roll it on the side, turn and go towards the sun like a zigzag. You know, that's what it is with that. And so we gotta turn our heads here again, left and right when you cross the street here. You gotta be on the lookout, you know, for the streets. And that's how we gotta get doing with that, you know. So it's something which we gotta get on the move, and got another one for there, and let's go. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice as we go now. Hey, turn the head left and right before you cross the street. What a day. I see somebody wearing short sleeves, but some people are still wearing jackets. And you know, I do yours truly, aspie artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, analyst, and theorist, on the go. Maybe see a little bit of zigzag like a snake, because I want to go ahead towards the bridge. So the best way for me to just keep staying in the sun, I'm assuming, is just gonna be for me to go straight to be in the sun as much as I can. It's gonna be for me to go keep it on the straight, because if I go on the sides, so I'm strategizing to get as much sun as I can. That's my strategy now, as I go with the backpack yours truly for this little first before I go back, do some mathematics, you know, a little bit of high school mathematics with a friend, a little bit of advanced, but something which I love, geometry and fractions and percentages, fractions, geometry, percentage and fraction is something which I love. And in a parallel life, I'm a super aspie, also have Asperger's, but in that parallel life, all my life is revolved around science, technology, science, mathematics, logic, mathematics, science. Well, in this life, you know, I got my holy trinity of special interests. It's people who are neurodivergent like myself, we have those special interest, aka obsessive interest, and mine is geopolitics, the study, the analysis, 24/7. Even today, I spend like more than 5 hours just non-stop immersed in analyzing geopolitical events of the day, of the yesterday, of last night, and of course it's always ongoing geopolitical events, especially now with the geopolitical world turned a bit on that upside down. So, and that is my special interest, and I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who now not only celebrates 5 years since I survived COVID. You know, back in 2020, between February 7th and March 28th, I had COVID, and I also marked more than 5 years since November 2019, when I had predicted an international conflagration, similar to the situation parallel that's been happening now across the North American Collectif. I had predicted it, and of course I had created a consequential workout training program system to go hand in hand with such a scenario. have unfolded, as it's unfolding now in a general manner, parallel to my prediction, of course, not exactly event by event, but in a similar manner to what I had predicted back then in 2019. So that's what I am, an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and mystic. And yours truly, of course. My other special interests are sports and fitness, dancing. Dance is my favorite sport and fitness activity on the number one. And I also love hockey, gridiron, North American football, boxing, and rock and roll with that. So that's my holy trinity. Geopolitics, sports, fitness, dancing being my favorite sport and fitness activity. But any sports and fitness activity that's one for me is dancing, number one. And then comes like gridiron, North American football, boxing, and hockey, and volleyball, and all the good sports, gymnastics, and what have you. So here I'm gonna go. Can cross the street here. I'm gonna go a little bit in the sun again, parallel, and then I'm gonna turn over there like that and rock and roll. And I have been and will continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Boxing match on the Canadian-US border, boxing match on the Canadian-US border ever since Donald Trump first imposed tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel back in spring 2018. So it's gonna be 7 years since, and soon it's gonna be 7 years, and I am carrying in that backpack. The gloves. Carrying gloves, which were gifted by my anonymous friend, who, if I make 1 million, myself, if I win the lotto or make 1 million, get commission, get donation, gonna give 50% half until 718 trillions, Because my friend wasn't my friend because of the money, because I never had any, and gifted me those gloves a few years ago, and I've been started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match ever since that imposition of the tariffs, 10% on aluminum and steel, and now, of course, the 25% are on Canadian goods, on more than 50%, because, of course, there's some which were exempt. Finally, they're given exemption to a few percentage, but there's still a tariffs on a lot of goods, and, of course, with a threat of reciprocal tariffs. And of course, I'm no Trump supporter. I'm a Democratic Republican, pro-labor, and love universal revolutionary centrism. My centrism is for the fusion of Canada and the United States via parallel, similar to what the European Union has, with a common currency and strong public health care, and a strong public-private partnership, which is required, because it takes public-private partnership. Watch it for the car. Watch it. Gotta watch it for the car, The child stopped, and watch it for the car, Gotta have sometimes my eyes on when I'm here in the public, and like when there's cars, and there's children. I always have my eyes on the children like a hawk, like a hawk. It's just cars, At the end of the day, the cars are just metals on wheels, It's just metal to get us to point A to point B, There's just metals on wheels, At the end of the day, some are more pricey than others. At the end of the day, it's the body. So I'm always a little bit maybe like double prudent when I'm in the public, and turn my head left and right maybe more than three times sometimes, and I see these fellow citizens with the sun shining strong. I always meditate on the possibilities, of course, of safety and security and liberty, because I'm doing this work now, but my liberty, my security, my citizens. And when I see people around, they're like my family, Quebecers, Canadians, and, my family here, and children. I don't have my own, but, I write children's books and consider them to be part of my family, children and youth, and all people around that I interact on this Hawk Island, Montreal, HAWK, Hawk Island, Montreal, So I always try to do the best for myself and for others, and with Asperger's being weird sometimes, the mannerisms, the way maybe I pronounce and communicate is more different, and not in the normal way, in the majority of way, but being neurodivergent has come with many struggles and sufferings, especially in employment, and I had many jobs which I love, but I gotta be grateful still, many doors were closed for yours truly. Many doors were closed, misunderstandings and frustrations and struggles and sufferings and sufferings and struggles and sufferings and struggle. But although financially stressed, $10,000 in debt, broke, but the sun's shining and I got food at home. I got my rents paid my rent for the month of March, paid my electricity bill, got food and coffee, internet connection, so I can work out, train, exercise. And you know, I survived COVID in 2020. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. Death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. COVID, for me, was like death, pestilence, and disease. I know it sounds like a hardcore trash, death metal, rock and roll trash metal song, or the name of a trash, hardcore death metal trash album. Death, pestilence, and disease, you know. Nuclear war type of situation, biological warfare, bioweaponry. But that's how I really felt. And I always say I died in 2020 between February 7th and March 28th. Between beginning of February until about the end of March, I was sick, and very sick and ill. And I gotta turn my head left and right before I cross the street. And I really thought that was my last chapter, and marking 5 years on this last day of winter. 19th of March, 19th, tomorrow's the 20th, and Stellamites, you know, we gotta rock and roll with the law of that 93, PPP, as I am here, survived, and calling for a public-private partnership, you know, to be implemented across the North American Collective. And, you know, I know somebody holding hands, making LOV. I saw the youth teenagers, 16, 17-year-olds dancing and laughing, and I said, that gives me some HOP for today and for the future, you know. So with consent and hygiene, hug like you never hugged before is the message. And see people are working out, training, exercising there. It kind of feels like a spring day today, and that's always happy and joy. And the children are joyous, the youth are joyous. That's what brings me joy. So that's seeing the youth joyous. That brings me a little bit of joy with that. As I gotta cross the street here, and gotta get it on the XYZ, and gotta go towards the sun, because that's where I'm heading. And see the children running there in the park, and gotta encourage the youth. Physical activity, super important for youth, physical activity, you know. Being that my neurodivergence makes me, of course, predisposed to these obsessive interests of sports and fitness. I always like to exercise, always like to get that exercise, and I see that a lot of people are wearing shorts and kind of like that spring and summer type, but I think my jacket is okay for now, you know. The jacket is okay as I go towards the sun, and gotta get it for the XYZ there. So they're getting on that exercise, and then getting on that move myself too, getting some of that sweat. And I see a lot of people getting on that shirt, take off with their shirt, and they're going on that, taking a little bit of sunbathing. So that's always good with that. That's always good with that. And that's always something which we gotta do, you know, for the XYZ, on the XYZ side of things. And we gotta get it on the go, you know, as we go towards the sun. This kind of feel like almost like a summer day, although it's not summer, of course, but kind of feels. And here we are, you know, we gotta get it on the go. We gotta get it on the go with that. We gotta get it on the children playing and having fun, and that's always fun to get it on the go with that. And that's what we gotta get doing, you know. So we gotta get on that circumvention here, because there's still a lot of snow, a lot of snow, you know. That's all I gotta get doing with that, you know. That's all I gotta do with that, you know. So they're happy, I'm happy, you know. And that's what matters at the end of the day. The youth, you know. Here got a big field, gotta give some salutations, you know, to those, of course, who get it on the building. Imagine the labor, the work to build or this, and to build it is something which we gotta get it on to do, you know. We gotta get it on the go, you know. So that's what it is with that. That's what it is with that. You gotta give it on the go with that. So that's how we gotta get it to those who play, who joyfully play, you know. So that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get it. Gotta get it for the sun, and feels good. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, you know, going towards the Pope, making the sun, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get doing now, you know. This feels summerish, not totally summerish, but kind of got that feeling, you know. So grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got food, got coffee, got a little bit of joy here as I cross, you know, and go all the way to the stop there. I'm gonna cross by that side and see a little bit of by the side, you know. by the side here, and that's what we're gonna get doing right now. And see a little bit of joyfulness and playfulness, and I always like that, you know. But being neurodivergent, of course, I have troubles in the non-neurodiverse, neurotypical, in the neurotypicals, you know, neurotypicals. So in the neurotypical world, and that's what I give it for that. That's what I gotta get it on the XYZ, you know. So something which we gotta be on the mindful of the proclamations, you know, that joyfulness, joy. I have myself joyous, but financially stressed, and you know, I suffered struggle. Asperger's has been a tough condition, but it's not a mental illness. It is a neurological mental divergent condition which makes many Aspies like myself very weird, very strange, very abnormal, could use myself, you know, in certain things, you know. But now when you come to meet us, especially in those special interests, you know, those special interests which of course preoccupy our daily activities, you know. So makes us, myself included, where some aspects have different special interests. It could be arts, it could be history, it could be crafts, it could be sports, it could be fitness, it could be whatever the case may be, you know. It could be something else for that matter, whatever the case may be. So as the sun is shining, you know, now we gotta, the sun always shines, actually, you know, the sun always shines, I say. It's just that we got seasons and the placement of the earth, the science behind the rotation and the 365 days. So that's not something which is the sun always shines, well, you know. So but the question is, has the sunshine increased in intensity in the past? I don't know, whatever. In the past, during COVID, past 5 years, past 7 years, 11 years, 22 years, 40 years, 44 plus years, 44 plus years, 50 years, since 1904, since 1904. I guess it's not that easy to quantify or to answer, and even scientists would probably be able to proclaim that we really don't know for sure. We really don't know for sure. Just like I know I had COVID, but I don't know for sure what caused it. I believe it was snakes to human beings which transmitted COVID, and I survived it. But my belief in snakes, it's not 100%, so I have a doubt. Thus, I cannot rule out another possibility. That's my holy trinity on COVID. And there was a revision by the CIA that it was transmitted by something else. It was actually not only transmitted, but it was from nature, but it was actually man-made or engineered in a lab. That was the new CIA report, which of course stated that. So making that statement that I believe it was transmitted from snakes to human beings, which is a zoonotic transmission, consequently, I don't know for sure, I have a doubt. So having a doubt with that, I cannot rule out another possibility, which could be of course another possibility, whatever the case may be, a possibility such as a biological weapon. That's my holy trinity. I believe it was snakes who transmitted the COVID virus. It was transmitted by snakes. I don't know for sure. Thus, I cannot rule out another possibility. That possibility being another transmission from bats and other creatures such as, other than snakes, that is, and what I believe, because I don't know for sure. So I have a doubt. So that being stated with that, so that's another possibility. And of course, I cannot rule out another possibility. But what I do know for sure is that before I had COVID in 2019, I had created, made, and produced a workout training program system to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario, of which, of course, my World War III scenario, of course, comprised several levels and elements of analysis, several levels of analysis, of which yours truly had concluded. And of course, having concluded that is something which, of course, I gotta get doing on that. So that was my conclusion back in 2019. That, of course, humanity set on another international conflagration, and so made, created, produced the workout training program. Oh my God, look at that! It's a river. It's like a lake, big lake there for the dogs, you know, to get around that big lakes, man. Anyway, so that's what I believe, and just gonna get out of the way. So here a child. I'm gonna get it to the go here. Turn your head left or right before you cross the street, you know. super important, and it's gonna stop to get it on the go, and decided to let me pass, say go, because, you know, I have a big backpack, so I'm always wary if the children come on the bike, you know, for their security, their safety. With my big backpack, I try to move out of the way, and, you know, my movements, of course, of the body sometimes are more neurodivergent, you know, Asperger's. But before I go into the Asperger's again, I'm going to go into the continued on COVID. Again, I don't know for sure. I cannot rule out another possibility. But what I can say is that before COVID, I created a workout training program system, and I had concluded I could create a workout training program system to go hand in hand with a scenario in which there's a World War III type of situation, an international conflagration. And of course, I had predicted a World War III scenario in November 2019. I got proof, because I got the videos online. So there's hundreds of videos, workout training program videos, dance videos. Rainbow Dragon, aka Priestess, Anna. Rainbow Dragon, aka Priestess, Anna. Rainbow Dragon, aka Priestess, Anna. Of that telemai. So that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get doing with the LoveEvent. So it's something which we gotta be on the go, on the now, and something which we gotta be doing, you know, for the love, you know. For the love. So it's something which we gotta be turning our heads here before we cross the street, you know, because, you know, you never know. What if the brakes malfunction? What if the citizen driver presses the accelerator? Those are always thoughts when I cross the street, at least for me. And now I'm doing this work, and it's my work, and doing these videos on YouTuber with the freestyle rock and roll. But of course, I'm open for business, although financially stressed and struggling, and it's something which I love to do, you know. So anyways, back to the verbosities on COVID. I don't know for sure a bully with snakes, but I cannot rule out another possibility, you know. But what I do know for sure is that before COVID, I had created and produced a workout training program system designed to go with such a scenario such as we're living now. So being that I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist who has predicted the current situation, so having predicted in a general manner the current situation, I believe my theory is best, such as the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. And of course, we are now at a financial critical point, at least with the public finances of Canada, because the amount of interest which we paid has more than doubled. From 20.3 billion, just the interest in 2020, 2021, to 46.5 billion. Yes, due to COVID. But, and again, I don't know what caused COVID, but I believe it was transmitted from snakes to human beings, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. So we gotta get on that love side to get it on the do, you know, to get it on the LOVE. And I believe COVID was transmitted from snakes, but I cannot rule out another possibility with the revision of the CIA. It's of course highly likely that it was transmitted from something else, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. That's what we gotta get on the go. Maybe make a parallel injunction that of course it wasn't just transmitted from snakes, but it was transmitted maybe from a virus which was made in a lab, like the CIA concluded, you know. So those are always possibilities which occur in a situation of life as we live here in the true north, strong and free. We gotta add some LOV to that, you know. So whatever the cause was, I had it, I survived it 5 years ago, and of course I am encouraging people to maintain. Oh, thank you. The car stopped. Thank you. The car stopped, and that's what it is for that, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. And you know, that's why we have to be mindful of all that we have here, and keep the protocols, please. The hygienic protocols I'm referring to. The hygienic protocols I'm referring to. The hygienic protocols, you know, those which we gotta keep, and that's which we gotta get doing on that, and that's how we gotta get on the go. So it's something which we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing. Whoops, that's a little puddle. So yours truly, survivor of COVID, survived being attacked by surprise, survived live with retrograde amnesia, lost memory, and survived COVID, and have plenty of scars on my body. I got plenty of scars, struggled with COVID, with Asperger's, and here I am joyous, got some felicity, got some contentness, but financially stressed nonetheless. But grateful. Gratitude is a great component for mental health. All this civilization is a privilege, eh? To have running water, electricity. I have a washer and a dryer, so all those things, of course, which have the washer and the dryer in my home, you know, something which we take for granted. And I live carpe diem every day, eh? Ever since I survived COVID. Ever since I survived COVID, I live carpe diem. Like, I take the day to the fullest, but I also have hope for like the future, for tomorrow. And my programs, protocols, initiatives, which manifest as the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. When I say pledge your allegiance, I mean it 100% fully. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance to our family. And the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom is something which we gotta get doing, and that, and we gotta get it on the love, you know, to get it on the somebody. It's not enough, eh, to have strength and freedom and true north, strong and free, yeah, but as the home of the brave and the land of the free, the home of the brave, where I was, of course, I lived in past lives, born 3 times in the USA, post 70-76, once as a woman, twice as a man. When I was born as a man, I served in the United States Armed Forces, same armed forces, 156 years apart, 156 years apart, 156 years apart, 156 years apart. The war is war, you know, so that's how I got it here at the top. And this is where I wanted to come and go around the body, do some sun salutations. Akadua, kadua, kadua. The sun is always shining, always setting, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. And we gotta get going to rebuild, you know, the North American Infrastructure Collective, That's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get on the go, you know, for the sun is shining, and that's how we gotta get on the XYZ, and that's how we gotta do that LOVE. So something which we gotta get doing with that, you know, and something which we gotta be mindful of to get it on the go, you know. So it's something which we gotta do, you know. Here's it goes. Merci, thank you. There we go. What a nice day. So anyways, back to what I was saying in the COVID, of course, is that yours truly, of course, has, of course, made and concluded that, of course, humanity is set again towards an international conflagration. And so created, made, and produced my workout training program system, which, of course, have performed myself more than 372 sessions, you know, 372 sessions. And here, when I go to the right, to the left, I gotta keep my this is like driving, you know, it's fundamentally just like driving, so that's what I gotta do, you know, so that is what I gotta do with that, and that's what I gotta compliment, you know, so I gotta get doing with that, and gotta get it on the go, you know, so gotta get it on the go now. And there's the hawk, haha, there's the HAWK. That's how I look a lot towards the sky, see how it flies there. That's my totem bird, the hawk. First hawk I see, 2025. There you go, baby. Black and white hawk with a red on it. Hawk, hawk, hawk! Hawk, that's how it flies, see? Black and white. Just spreads wings and glides. That's the HAWK. My totem bird. First, ending the winter by seeing the hawk. My totem bird, the hawk, hawk, hawk. That's how we gotta get doing, you know. So that's my totem bird, hawk. H-A-W-K, hawk. See, the hawk is there. So that's a good omen. Exactly when I turn the bridge, I guess. Beginning anew with the hawk, hawk, hawk. Gotta get it on the go. So gotta get it on the left, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. Gonna cross on the other side, be in the sun, and here you gotta watch it, because sometimes it's a very dangerous corner, because that car can go by the side here. So you always gotta be prudent. There's the hawk flying high, gliding on the sky. H-A-W-K, hawk. So back to what I was saying, of course, I predicted the international conflagration back, of course, in 2019, and that's, of course, what I've been doing since 2019. I've been working out, training, exercising. I gotta give a shout out 7 years ago, 2017, I crossed Canada coast to coast. I crossed Canada coast to coast and crossed Canada coast to coast, you know. So having crossed Canada coast to coast, you know, which we gotta get doing with the Canada coast to coast, 2017 in August, when in British Columbia, you know, British Columbia. And that, of course, event made me come out of being depressed, being suicidal, made me come out of being depressed and being suicidal, you know. Oh wow, flowers, which I love. Look at those flowers. First flowers that I see of 2025, last day of winter. Wow, look at those beauties. I just love purple, red, and orange flowers, all types of flowers, colorful ones, but those are really nice. See, I love flowers. I love pink. I love flowers. I LOV flowers. And thank you. That's nice. That makes me happy. Anyways, back to the hawk. Where's the hawk? In the sky. Of course, sometimes I stare at the sun, and for a few seconds I can go blind. For a few seconds I can go blind. For a few seconds I go blind, you know, because I gotta get it on the sun with that, and that's what it is. So that's what we gotta get doing with that, and sometimes which we gotta be transpointing on with that, and that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta go where we gotta go to, you know. So it's something which I gotta be mindful, you know, and now we gotta get it on the mindfulness to get it on the do, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, you know. So we gotta get doing, you know, so with the hawk. So COVID was hardcore for me. I thought I was gonna die, you know. In many ways I did die, and I being reborn, you know, androgynous, pansexual. Look at this, a little bit crooked up. Kind of looks like a little mushroom, eh? Inside a bit. I don't know. Kind of looks a bit like a mushroom. Like, kind of, it's tilted, see? It's kind of tilted. Tilted. Almost crooked, man. Let's see if we can see it from here. See how it's kind of bent? It's kind of beautiful though. I like it. It's just bent a bit. Things you notice sometimes in nature, you know. So back to what I was saying, of course, surviving COVID was a hardcore event for me, having COVID, and I encourage people to please keep the protocols, you know. Keep the protocols of the hygiene, public hygiene. Keep the protocols of the public hygiene. Super important, brothers and sisters, to maintain those protocols, which were, of course, not that easy for many, you know, but some habits such as regular physical exercise, and of course protocols for the public hygiene, because we're in the public, eh? And when we're in the public, myself included, I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations which I don't have under the normal circumstances of life, you know. So normal circumstances of life, I don't have the same protocols, and if I would have stayed home, there's some more flowers. Oh wow, there's some more flowers. For the first flowers are there, man. Look at those beauties, double colored, double flowers, first set of flowers of spring. But it's not spring officially, but nonetheless, look at those flowers, man. So that's what we gotta get doing with that. And you know, the birds are coming back. And that's what we gotta get on those birds. You know, they're coming back from hibernation. Well, they're not. No, correction. From migration. They're migratory birds. Those are not hibernation. See where they at? thing, and they're not visible anymore. But nonetheless, you know, something which we gotta be implementing with that. We gotta be implementing with that, and that's how we gotta get on the go, you know. So back to what I was saying, that COVID protocols for the public hygiene are calling all to be maintained, you know. So that's how we're gonna be doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know. And being that those protocols have to be maintained and upkeep, you know, is something which we have to work on, and is something which I guess for some it has been developed into a regular habit, you know. I know sometimes we have a tendency to idealize, sentimentalize past lives, that it was better, but even if we go to tough times, myself, I've been years and years and years struggle, suffering, financial precariousness and loneliness. Well, I'm not that lonely, it's not really loneliness. And you know, if you want to LOV with me, black, white, rainbow, man, woman, black, white, you gotta be 18 though, 18 plus, you know. I'm gonna card you like a club, eh? You're gonna get carded like you gotta card it when you get carded to buy. Cannabis is legal across Canada, coast to coast. Cannabis is legal, but like you would go in a bar, in a club, or like you would get, of course, whatever the case you would get, and whatever the case you would get. So that is something which we gotta be doing. It's something which we gotta be doing, you know. So it's something which we gotta be thinking about. The COVID protocols of hygiene, you know, is something which we gotta assess for ourselves sometimes, you know. Getting back to fitness. I don't do drugs myself. I don't do drugs, and I got retrograde amnesia symptoms, loss of memory. I have trouble with memories, remembering my life prior to me moving from a very moldy, there was lots of black mold, red mold, green mold, and maybe I did a lot of drugs before, but I don't do drugs. And I have cannabis, which I did it with that, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know, to the getting on the go, you can XYZ with that, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know. So we gotta go. So it's something which we gotta be mindful of, you know. In a Jeep. So maintaining those protocols, you know, of hygiene is important, and got somebody get some gloves there. So maintaining those protocols of hygiene, you know, gotta get it on the do, and that's what we gotta get doing. Hey, some LOV, firefighter on the treadmill. Gotta give some LOV to the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and grocery store clerks, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, IT workers, bus drivers, all those flipping some burgers. And there's the fire station on the treadmill. Good for you, work out, stay fit. Somebody, mass finance, millionaires, billionaire, selfish asses, mass finance, the firefighters and the public workers, some massage therapy sessions. I wish I could afford one, but hey, I'm gonna take a bath, and gonna be my massage therapy session, which is gonna be only a few cents, I guess. Cost of the electricity for the heat and for the Vasa for the water. So that's gonna be my own little doing there, you know, with that. So it's something which I gotta be mindful of. So here I'm gonna cross, turn it on the streets, turn my head left and right, and gotta get it on that, you know. And something which we gotta be mindful of, you know. Here we are, and always meditating, always grateful, thankful. And of course I will discuss the DRT theory, debt refusion theory. Super important that I do discuss it, the debt refusion theory, because it's the solution. So I don't want to forget today or any day, and for that matter, that I gotta basically do it every time. I gotta be doing it every time. I gotta discuss in every video. I gotta discuss my DRT. But once again, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise is a good workout. This is just my warm-up, and I'm gonna go train the brain a little bit, do some mathematics, some equations, and get a cup of coffee and go to my second home, my mistress. You already know where it at. If not, nobody watching, but hey, document to keep my name out of your mouth. If it's not for a blessing, thank you. And that's what it is with that. And looking for a garbage. Oh, there's a garbage bag. Yeah, it's not another one. I guess there's another one there, so just gonna throw some other trash here. Throw some other trash and put it in the garbage, and that's what it is with that, you know. So it's something which we gotta be mindful, you know. Joy is important, and let's see how much I can't afford it. What am I talking about? I'm not gonna regard the price. I got food at home and cannot afford to spend money, any money at this moment in time. But the ones that I have, I guess I have about $7 to spend for the rest of the week, and I could probably get another 10 from my bank. Is you saw proof of work that I'm in the red with that, you know. Oh my gosh. They gotta get it on the go, and it's coming out of hibernation time, man. And I thought that was Marconi for a second, but that wasn't. And it's Dragon versus Trump, you know. And I pledge allegiance to the king. What is it? It's time for the republic. The king is absent. The king is absent, you know. And it's time for the republic. And what's with the swearing allegiance to the king for? To swear allegiance to the 40+ million here of my fellow Quebecers, Canadians, you know. The greater Canadian Quebecer family, of which my family right here where I passed, and in these cars, and with which I established a strong esprit de corps back in 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast. That event in my life completely changed my life. 2017, I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event made me just had an awakening, had a realization. So many things to do, to see across this strong and free, where we gotta add some LOV with that, you know. So I established a strong esprit de corps, you know, with my fellow Canadians, and that's it, that's all with that, that's all, and that's how we gotta get it on the rock and roll side, you know. So it's something which we gotta get. Ding ding, be careful, don't cross. Prudence, safety, train conductors for the youth. Gotta get it on the LOV, you know, so gotta get it. All gotta salute, you know. Train conductors, I always meditate. I give permission to a citizen to laugh at me. I know that I might have weird facial expressions with Asperger's and weird movements of the body. Asperger's is for some it can be funny, and I don't mind. I give permission. I'd rather people laugh at me, you know. Laugh at me, you know. But with joy, I guess. But guess what, I did it for XYZ, you know. So it's something which we gotta do it, you know. And that's what we gotta do, you know. So we gotta do. And being that it's a neurodivergence, and I'm part of this minority, you know, of less than 1%, less than 0.5%, less than 0.44%. It's less than 0.44%. So about 0.44% have Asperger's, HFA, high functioning autism. So it just makes us predisposed to special interests such as sports and fitness, and I love to see people working out, training, exercising, and mine is rock and roll and sports and fitness, and rock and roll with that, and of course not only rock and roll but geopolitics. Even now my mind, when I see the train, I put it in an integral position from me being a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and from the point of view in geopolitics, that the train here is open for potential espionage and sabotage, potential sabotage and espionage from enemies, of course, which we have made in the current involvement in several conflicts, of which we have made, you know, several conflicts. Check the door. Which door is it? So, because of the involvement. So, and please, if somebody brings me the tools and the permission. This tunnel here is so gray. Would love to paint it. Just paint it blue, yellow, orange, and Oh yeah. Anyways, this is too gray. I would love to paint it. I would paint all this orange, purple, some rainbow, you know. It's just so gray. The whole. Just bring me the tools and I'll paint it. I'll volunteer. Put some color, you know. Put some color here. It's just too gray, you know. You need some gray. Too gray. You need some color. They're happy, I'm happy. They're joyous, I'm joyous. The youth, you know, gotta have some love for the youth, man. Anyways, I would love to put some color, you know, some purple, some orange. It's just so gray. Every time I pass here, super gray. So what I would love is just color it up, paint it. I'll do volunteering. You bring the paint, the permission, and I'll just paint the whole place. Just gonna paint. Just gonna paint, you know. So that's what we gotta be doing, you know. And that's what we gotta be painting, man. Doing a little bit of paint, you know. So that's what I want to do. Just paint there the hallway. It's not really a hallway, but anyway, so back to what I was saying. Now I gotta head back to my headquarters. Oh, and it was perfect as the cloud's setting in and sunset is later, and gotta salute the bus drivers, public workers, and now my brain switches because geopolitics is one of my special interests. So being that geopolitics is one of my special interests, you know, it's geopolitics is one of my special interests. So that's what I gotta say with that, and I always put it in a place where it's, you know, in a place of the meditative state where this is potentially open for potential sabotage, you know? Potential sabotage and espionage, and being that it's open for sabotage and espionage is potentially a harm to fellow citizens. So now my brain, I could discuss it now for an hour, potentialities and possibilities of potential sabotage from a geopolitical perspective, and theorizing, you know. So that's how we gotta get doing like that, you know. So that's where we gotta get doing like that, you know. So it is something which we gotta do, you know, and that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know, and we gotta get doing on that, and we gotta get doing on the go, you know. So it's something which we gotta get doing, and something which we gotta get on the go with that. And always gotta be prudent when you cross the street here. That's my old neighborhood. I used to do, but not. It's actually part of my new neighborhood. My old place of doing laundry. I meant my old place of doing laundry there at the corner of my old place of doing laundry. So to do laundry, used to do laundry right there, but now I gotta get back to my headquarters and gotta get it on the XYZ and get it on the left part, and gotta go for that beautiful green truck. Has a nice green to it, and what a nice green. What a nice green to it. Gotta get doing on the love, and I gotta cross on the side there, and here we gotta go on the love, you know. So it's something which we gotta cross the street prudently. Prudent. There's a pedestrian here, you gotta stop, see? The cars here have to stop theoretically, but you still gotta turn your heads left and right, see? That's the cars gotta stop, see? Prudent gotta stop, you know? Gotta stop, yo. So, that's it. Done the intro. We gotta go with the intro. So, that's how we gotta get doing for the XYZ. And gotta get in the park and cross to the park, so it's something which we gotta do, X, Y, Z, and that's what we gotta do with that, and that's what we gotta get doing with the LoveEvent, so it's something which we gotta be on the steps, on the toes, on the flex for that rock and roll, the DRT, debt refusion theory. I'm going to discuss it quickly because it's super important for me to discuss it. So the debt refusion theory stands for DRT, debt refusion theory, DRT, debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So the debt refusion theory, stands for DRT, the debt refusion theory, creation of the UE, So due to the fact that we now pay 46.5 billion, 46.5 billion, that is the amount which we pay on the public debt, That's just the amount we paid last year on the public debt, for the 46.5 billion last year, the amount of debt interest only. So the interest only on the public debt, not the principal. So keep that in mind, as we gotta celebrate here a little bit of that basketball, and it's gotta thank a little bit of thank you to those who built it. This is a new facility here, and that's new. So I know it takes financing, but I know it takes the workers or the labor or the construction workers, public construction workers. Thank you, public workers, to pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling, the compost, the garbage, 3 services every week. And I worked on the compost project a few months. I was the one delivering the bins, doing the education, so I got some experience in the environment. I have some experience in the environment, and look in the sky, birds are coming back to their second home. And later on, as I'm going to my second home, Mount Royal, that's what we gotta get it for the birds, so it's something which we gotta be mindful. So back to the debt refusion theory. The DRT debt refusion theory is the only solution, or something similar to the DRT must be of course implemented. Why do I make that statement? The statement is made by yours truly, philosopher, artist, athlete, geopolitical, theoretical, honest, and theorist, and mystic, who lived many past lives, many incarnations, even post 7076, 3 times born, once as a woman, twice as a man, served in the same United States Armed Forces, 156 years apart, was born as a woman here, Quebecois, before Quebec was known as it is today, the modern Quebec, Canada. Of course, the king is absent. Time for the Republic, the North American Union fusion, the North Canada with the South United States vis-a-vis my DRT, and with my DRT, debt refusion theory, with my other theories, the CIT, citizen integration theory, and the democratic fusion theory, and the public-private partnership, the PPP, public-private partnership, which is the dancing goddess, and the dragon kingdom, which is the dancing goddess, and the dragon kingdom, which is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Salutation to the sun, the Pope, the King, my Pope, the King, the sun, who now shines and rises and now says there's every second there's a sunrise, there's a sunset, there's every second there's a sunrise and a sunset, every second there's a sunrise and a sunset, So that's how we gotta be doing with that, and that's how we gotta be on the conclusion mark, and here we are now. Today is all we got, basically now. Today is all we got, with hope for tomorrow. The DRT paradox, it comes out of me being cursed with Asperger's, having the curse of Asperger's, being an Aspie. The curse of Asperger's makes me that I have geopolitics as a special interest, and I spend hours and hours and hours a day with my ritualized routine of daily activities which revolve around my special interests, as many people with Aspies have special interests, or most Aspies have special interests, although those interests diverge and differ from Asperger's. As an individual Aspie, from an individual Aspie, they have a variance. So it could be for somebody else, cars. You could know everything there is about cars, as I know not everything there is to know myself, but I do know it's my special interest in geopolitics. It's 24/7 geopolitics and sports and fitness, and dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity, and rock and roll. And paradoxically, the DRT, debt refusion theory, which is the solution, comes out of this curse, I would say, of Asperger's. So the debt refusion theory is the only solution, again, due to the fact that we had paid last year 46.5 billion in interest. So there's a possibility of a black swan event for the Canadian public finances, maybe tomorrow, 20th of March, first day of spring, there's a possibility for a black swan event, meaning that the financial collapse of Canada is a possibility due to the fact that the interest payments on the debt, just the interest payments, have more than doubled. Yes, due to COVID. Due to COVID, we had to implement protocols. Due to COVID, we had to implement protocols. And of course those protocols had made us that we have reached this point in time. Where we have to do that. Exactly, we have to do that. We have to do it. We have to do, wow, I love it. I would definitely drive this. Wow. What? What? It's so nice. Makes me feel like candies. Like now I feel like eating candy bars.
I feel like beautiful girl is driving inside.
I don't know who's driving. I would drive that. I like it. It's different, eh? I think it's custom made paint. Bye. And it says Barbie on the front. Bye. The DRT, debt refusal theory. For the creation of the UE, and so we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. And you know, the DRT, my fellow cousins, their uncle, and he also liked the car. So back to the debt refusion tree, because it's super important that I conclude discussing it without being distracted, because this is the great solution, at least where we are now, fundamentally for where we are now in the public and the private sphere. Most of Canada and the United States is in the same financial situation. We paid 46.5 billion. That's 1,000 million, 46,000 million. That the number was 20.3 in 2021. So the number goes from 20.3 to 46.5. So imagine, as an individual citizen, let's say, whose debt interest payments only. I don't have credit cards myself. I pay. You see it in my past videos. I'm pretty transparent about my financial struggles. I have $10,000 in debt. $10,000 in debt, but nonetheless, I don't have credit cards. I pay 10.44% in interest, 10.44%, and gotta encourage my fellow citizen there, jogging, and you know, gotta get that DRT, that refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. So again, you know, that's the DRT is the only solution, or something similar. If not the DRT, something similar to the debt refusion theory is the solution. If not the DRT per se, something similar to the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, universal exchange. So I'm going to now explain it properly, but again, keep in mind that if a citizen's interest payments more than double from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333, let's say they go from 156 to 333, that means, of course, that the interest has to cut and reduce the spending, you know. One has to cut and reduce the spending. So it's super important. One has to cut and reduce the spending, and whatever the expenses are, whatever the spending is, one has to reduce the spending. That's how we have to reduce the spending. We reduce the spending with that. So basically, the debt refusion theory is, of course, we're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public-private debt, we're going to take it, and we're going to refuse it, and we're going to create a new currency. So again, there's no other solution, because the debt interest only has doubled. We're on the verge of a public financial collapse, just like an individual citizen, because the GDP of Canada has not doubled. The economy of Canada has not doubled. The average salary increase has only increased by 4.4% in the past 5 years. So an individual citizen who, let's say, paid interest of $156 on the credit cards in 2020, 2021, and last year it was more than doubled to 333. So 156 to times 2, that's 312. So 156 times 2 is 312. 156 to 300, 156 double, that's 312, right? So that means that the citizen has to cut and reduce the spending on the budget. It has to be a cut and a reduction in the budget. That's just what it has to be. There's no way out of this, paradoxically. So that's the fact. Financial, you cannot argue with it, because the interest is what's the problem, not the debt per se. The interest, mathematical financial principle, even if the salary increases by 5, 10, or 15%, and the interest payments double, one still has to cut and reduce. Citizen X is gonna have to stop buying liquor, stop going out to the movies, stop buying bacon, sausage, cut the Netflix, cut the internet, reduce the spending in a major way. The spending has to be reduced. It has to be reduced. That's the same. What are we going to cut in the public finances of Canada? We're going to cut what? We're going to cut and reduce what? The prisons, the RCMP, the police, those who pick up the garbage, the recycling, public health care. So that is just the mathematical financial principle. There's no way out of this. Just the mathematics. Just the mathematical financial principle. That's what it is, So those are the principles in the calculations. There's no other way around it, So it goes from 156, let's say, to 333, just like for the public finances of Canada. It went from 20.3 to 46.5. More than double. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, my theory, is the only solution or something similar. My DRT theory also includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. We're going to convert it into US dollars. Plus, we have to implement the DRT simultaneously with the United States. All the public-private debt converted to US dollars, added with the United States dollar. All that money was going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank, which we're going to create just like the European Union created in the 90s, the ECB. So we're going to create a new central bank, Canada, United States joint. It could be multiplied other countries. Call it the new currency. We're going to call it the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit, the UE, U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange is going to have the same amount of interest. Was going to be the amount is going to be the value of the US dollar, the UE, and we're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. 10% on all loans thereafter. It could be below 9.9, it could be 9.9, 3.33, 1.56, 7.18, 4.18, 9.3, 7.18, 4.18, 3.33, below 10 by principle. So we're going to rebuild the infrastructure of North America with that. Rebuild the infrastructure, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance citizens, and build on the Canadian-US border, the North American Imperial Coliseum, 11 times bigger than the football stadium of the NFL, where of course the Harbor Bowl, aka the Blackout Bowl, one of my favorite Super Bowl, top 5 Super Bowls, where my 49ers, although lost by only 3 points. We're going to build also the Forgotten Goddess Temple. We're going to build 44 tunnels, 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 that's what we're going to be doing with that. So it's got to get doing with that. So 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. We're going to mass finance citizens fitness, mass finance tourism, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, and finance the 2 complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdoms institutions for the North American Fusion, the DGA Dancing Goddess Army, the Dragon Army North American Integrated Dance League, and of course for service and security only the Dragon Army, the 51 legions across, mobilize 1% of Canada, of Canadians, and the 50 states for the 51 legions, or 63, whatever, for each state, potential the union in a public-private partnership manner, and fuse, Canada, United States integral, public-private partnership, common currency via the DRT. With the DRT, debt refusion theory, we're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure, build bridges, build more Hydro-Quebec dams. We're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure, mass finance citizens tourism across North America, because of course it did me lots of good. So being that it did me lots of good, and that's how we're going to be able to do it. To do, of course, whatever the case may be, to have it done and have it worked with that. And the DRT, debt refusion theory, which includes monetary integration theory, that is the only solution what it is. And that's what we got to get doing with that, and that's what we got to get fabricated, and that's what we got to get doing on the love, for the love. And the debt refusion theory, the only solution, or something which it resembles my DRT theory, is the only solution. So that's how we gotta get doing. Pledge your allegiance to our family. That's the rock and roll song part 1 for today. Part one of the first one in the sunset. I'm gonna call another one to go to the mountain afterwards. Rock and roll DRT, debt refusion theory. Pledge your allegiance to our family.